Hey y'all, long time no talk. I'm coming at you kind of messy. I just got back from the gym, so I'm looking a little rough. But I'm gonna get some work done in the garden today. It's been a minute since I've been on YouTube. I've kind of been hit or miss on Instagram as well if you follow us there. I'll just be real honest with you. I have not been making videos because I have not done much in the garden, if anything. I was not feeling well at all for a few weeks there, and the garden, the market garden, and our personal garden just completely took a halt because I just couldn't do it. It had been so hot and humid, and then when you're not feeling well, you don't have the energy, just all that mixed together. I just had to take a step back. So I'm finally feeling better. The temperatures are starting to cool down now. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. It was actually like in the 50s this morning. It's a little past 11 o'clock right now. And it's definitely warmer, but it's manageable. So I am going to get my tail in gear and get this fall garden ready. I was going to take you along for that. But what I really wanted to show you today was what we're going to do, or how we're doing insect netting this year. I say this year, this is the first year I've done insect netting ever. My original plan was to buy some from a place like Johnny Seeds or somewhere that had legit insect netting. However, looking at the price of that, I did allow myself one big purchase. We had a successful summer season, so I allowed myself to take some of the profits from that and make one kind of larger purchase. I was gonna buy insect netting with that, but I decided to go ahead and purchase a seeder because I felt like through the fall and the winter I would be doing a lot of direct sowing, things like carrots, radish, lettuce, all that sort of stuff out in the tunnel, and I just felt like the seeder was going to come in more handy and was going to save me a lot more time. So that being said, I came up with kind of solution for the insect netting because that has proven to be necessary. I'll show you why here in a little bit. The pests have been kind of brutal here lately, but I'm going to show you that. It feels so good to be getting back outside again and getting things ready. I'm real embarrassed to show you the tunnel because if I'm being completely honest with you, yesterday was the first time I walked out there in weeks because, as I said, I couldn't do it. I went out there yesterday. It's not as bad as I had anticipated, but it definitely needs some work. Today is Thursday. You may be seeing this video on Friday, depending on when I can get it edited and uploaded and whatnot. But the plan is to get out into the tunnel way back there on Saturday and get those beds flipped and amended and all that, and I'll take you through that process when we do that. But today the focus is in here. I was able to get out here a couple days ago and I got all the tomatoes ripped out, which was very much past due. The heat, the last few weeks, just the August heat and then moving into September has just been brutal, really. And the tomatoes they were just done out here. The tomatoes in the tunnel actually don't look terrible, but out here they were done. So they all came out. Left the peppers because obviously they're still going strong. They'll stay in till close to the first frost. And I'll continue to harvest peppers off of those. These guys here, this is really fun. Unfortunately, the worms, and I think they're army worms actually. Here in Arkansas, we've been having an issue in this area with army worms. So I think the army worms are really starting to get to these guys, but also the little cucumber beetles are starting to get on them. But anyways, here's one, are little melons. Yep, see that guy there? He needs to die. Oh, I got him. These are melons. So my mom bought some sort of melon from Sam's Club a while back. She said they were the best melons she had ever had. She described them as little personal size cantaloupes. She said it was the sweetest melon she'd ever had. She saved the seeds from them, gave them to me, and asked me if I would try to grow them. And I told her I did not know if they would actually germinate. I didn't know what they would do. I actually didn't expect much from them, but they all came up and they're growing little melons. So I'm excited to see what they do. I don't know how much. Oh, there's another dang beetle. I got to get out here and do something about these. I'm excited to see what they do, if they actually taste similar to what she bought from the store. She's really excited about them. They're obviously looking really rough. Rabbits have also been a major issue. As you can see, the rabbits have just been eating what they can. So anyways, we should at least get a few good melons off of it. Ripped up some of the zinnias, fed them to the goats. But I'm going to go ahead and keep those zinnias for now. And then those are dahlias. I'll keep those guys going. These beds here have nothing in them. They need to be amended. And I'll kind of give you an idea of how we are amending the beds in here. It's probably not the best plan, but it's what I'm going to be doing for out here. Those dang pigs. I swear. We got pigs. I did a video on that. They have gotten so big. I'll show you in just a little bit. Those pigs knock their water over. Oh, hold on. Let that plane go over. They knock their water over every day, multiple times a day, and we have to fill it up every day. So we've got to come up with a solution to keep them from doing that. It drives me insane. I mean, they have a mud hole. Like they have a mud hole with water in it that they can lay in, but they just prefer to dump their water over, which is really annoying. Okay, so for amending beds, I actually had quite a few messages on Instagram asking how to amend beds, how we were going to be amending our garden beds, and being honest with you, I don't know a lot about amending. I'm learning. And we are using two separate methods, one in the outdoor garden and one in the tunnel. The one in the tunnel I think is probably the preferred method. In the tunnel, we took a soil sample a while back, weeks and weeks and weeks ago, probably a couple months ago really. So here in Arkansas, we can send off soil samples for free through our extension office. It takes quite a while to get them back, so it's something that you definitely want to think about ahead of time. It takes, in our experience, we've done it a few times now, it takes, 3-ish weeks to get your sample back. But it is free. It's not, I say it's not in-depth. It's pretty in-depth. It gives you an idea of those main nutrients in your soil that a lot of people think about, like nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. It also breaks down your pH for you. Obviously, that's very important. You want your pH to be right. And then it also gives you an idea of what your micronutrients look like, which I'm not an expert on the macronutrients, let alone the micronutrients, but it does go into that. And it things like calcium and magnesium. What's another one? I think boron is one. And actually the sample in our tunnel, which we had it tested before the summer garden, and it was awful. It was deficient in everything. It looked terrible. So we amended that based off of that sample. And then we sent off another sample before the fall garden, and it looked really good. It wasn't perfect by any means. I don't know that it will ever be perfect, but the macronutrients, those main nutrients that people think about, they all looked really good. The pH was spot on. And really all we needed were some of those micronutrients, like the calcium and magnesium and things. So again, like I said, I'm not an expert in that. So we actually there is a company out of Northwest Arkansas. They're called Garden IQ, I think. They used to be called Nitron, and they kind of rebranded, and I think they're called Garden IQ Organics, maybe. I will look that up for sure and post that in the comments so you can look them up, because they do ship. But they're very knowledgeable in all things organic amendments and that sort of thing. So I contacted them. I sent them my soil sample analysis, and I asked them what they thought I needed. They told me exactly what I needed, told me exactly how to apply it, how much to apply. Very easy to work with. I was going to order it and have them ship it to me because it's about a 2.5 hour drive. But I wanted to go check them out. So Tyler and I drove out there one day a couple weeks ago, picked up what we needed, checked them out. They're a really cool company. But if you're looking for help on, you get your soil sample back. Sometimes you get the sample or the analysis back and it's just like, it's really hard to understand. But you can send that to them and they will help you decide what you need, and they'll get you set up and on the right track. So definitely reach out to them if you were in the same boat as I was, and they can ship to you. They have very reasonable prices. So anyways, that's what we're doing out in the tunnel. When we took that soil sample out in the tunnel, I don't know what I was thinking, but I did not even consider getting a sample out here in the indoor garden. So I don't know what this needs out here. I have no idea. And really it's too late at this point because, we're getting to mid-September, and really my plan originally was to already have all of my stuff in the ground by now, and, life happened and I'm just behind. So I don't have time to send off a soil sample at this point. So all I'm going to do out here is lay down a layer of fresh compost. I say fresh, I mean it's not hot or anything, but it's ready to go. But compost, and plant in it and be good to go. And then before the summer garden, or the spring garden, I guess I should say, this next year, I will get a soil sample out here. And we'll do it that way. The compost I got this time around is also another local company out of Greenbrier, and they are called, I can't ever remember the names of things, but I'm pretty sure they're called Ozark Roots. Really cool people. They also make a lot of their own organic fertilizer. They make their own fish emulsion. They make their own compost, so they can definitely speak to the quality of it. And so this was some rabbit compost that had like alfalfa and some other really good stuff in it. So very nice company to deal with. They delivered it to my door for free. Awesome. I will also put their info in the comments, so if you're local to Central Arkansas, you can definitely check them out. They were really neat to deal with. So that's what I'm doing out here, just putting a little bit of compost on each bed and calling it good, and hoping that it works for me, and I think it will. I think it'll be fun. Does anybody else ever go to the nursery or the local greenhouse and intend to buy one tray of things, 1 6-pack of things, and then wind up buying a whole box of things? Because that's what I do every time. It's not what I intended to do at all, but whatever. So these 2 rows here, these are cabbages. These are all cabbages that I started from seed right before I got sick. They were doing great. Then I got sick and I didn't care what happened to them because it did not feel good, and they got very neglected. They were teeny tiny. Never hardened them off. They really just did not get the care that they needed. So I went ahead and put them out here this week, knowing full well that there was a decent chance that they would die because they weren't hardened off. They were teeny tiny, but just gave it a shot anyways to see what happened. Some of them have survived, and I think they'll do fine. Quite a few of them have died. So whatever. So that's why I went to the greenhouse today, to the local greenhouse. Picked up some cabbages. Oh, that's a collard. Let's see. I think the cabbages are those big guys over there. Picked up those with the intention of just, replacing what I had lost here in these rows. This outdoor garden is just for our use. This is just our family garden. I'm not using this as a market garden. That being said, I would not buy plant starts to use as a market garden, because the amount of money I spent, buying those cabbages is not going to pay for itself really in the long run if I were to, try to make a profit off of them. So if you're trying to do market garden, most of your stuff is going to have to be started from seed by yourself. Anyways, just wanted to clarify that this is all for our own personal use. So bought them today with the intention of just replacing the ones that died, and then they just had a lot of really good stuff, y'all. So these are collards. I've actually bought a whole tray of collards because the same thing. I put collards over here in this big row here. This was full of collards. And before I could get insect netting up on it, the rabbits and I think grasshoppers ate them down. So all of this is gone. They've killed it. And this is what I have left. And I need to get some insect netting. This is what I'm going to put up today, and I'll show y'all how I'm doing the insect netting. But I'm going to go ahead and replant the collards through here, and then I'll put that insect netting up, and we should be good to go. but they had good stuff. So this is rainbow chard. I have never grown any sort of chard. A Swiss chard. Really excited about that. Bok choy over here. Never grown bok choy either. Like I said in the past, I don't typically do a big fall garden, so this is all new for me. It's really exciting. Brussels sprouts. Never grown Brussels sprouts in my life. I've got a purple cabbage over here. Oh, the sun's bright. It's hard to see. These are the other cabbages, and then these here are all the collards that I'm going to replace. So I'm going to get to work out here, and I will show y'all about this insect netting. Okay, y'all, I'm going to try to do this. It's hard to see because it's so stinking bright right now. I went ahead and transplanted this whole row with collards. I had and watered them pretty heavily. It's getting warm out here. I bet it's probably low 90s right now. So they were really starting to look kind of puny as I transplanted them in. Like you can see, this guy looks a little puny, but went ahead and watered them in really good, so they should perk back up. And then I'm just going to go over and do the insect netting. And like I said, I'm going to explain that to you. It's pretty, you can probably look at it and say, well, I can do that. That's no big deal. I know exactly what that is. But in case you don't, I'll go over exactly how I did it. So like I said earlier, the insect netting from, an actual gardening company was just not in the budget for me this year. Maybe in the future, because I don't 100% know how well this is going to hold up. The wire hoops, I think, are going to be just fine. I think they'll hold up year after year as long as I take care of them. But the netting itself, I don't know. We'll just have to go with it and see. I think it'll do just fine, at least for this season. Maybe 2 or 3 more seasons after this. I don't know. I'm just going to play it by ear and see. So all you need are 3 things, really. The wire hoops, and I'll show you what I bought to do that. The netting itself, and then I'm just using rocks to keep it all anchored down. And obviously the rocks are free. I've just been finding them around our place. So really the only 2 things I had to buy were the wire and the netting itself. Okay. So I looked on Johnny Seeds. That's where I buy a lot of my stuff here lately. And I just looked on there to see exactly how much they were charging for the netting. And the netting that they're selling is roughly about $1 a foot. It runs about $1 a foot, which that sounds not that expensive, but depending on how much area you're trying to cover, that can get pretty expensive. So this is just tulle. You can probably tell this is just tulle that I got from, some of it I got from Walmart, some of it I got from Hobby Lobby. I bought all Walmart had, which was roughly, I think, 9 yards. And then I went to Hobby Lobby and bought some there. So it ran me, both places I think cost me about 97 cents a yard. But we know that there are roughly 3 feet in a yard. So where Johnny Seeds is charging you about $1 a foot, I'm getting the tulle for 3 feet for $1. So, whatever that works out to be, 30-ish cents or so, or 33, I guess I should say. So I'm coming out better that way. Again, I don't know, how long this will hold up. I know if you buy, actual insect netting from a reputable company, it's probably going to hold up year after year and you should be good to go. But, we'll see. We'll see how this handles. So far, it's been fine. It's been up for a couple weeks now and it's been doing good. For my wire hoops, this is just 9-gauge tension wire, and I found this at Lowe's. I already threw away the tag. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I will link it because I did see it online, so I can link it for you to show you exactly what I bought. But this was just under $50 for the whole roll. I can't remember how many feet it is, but you can see it has given me quite a few of these hoops, plus all of these that I've already used. So I think it will, I think I can get away with just doing one roll with the area that I'm trying to cover. So roughly 50 foot for, or $50 for all of these. Again, I will link it so you can see exactly how many feet it is. And all I did was come in, I totally eyeballed this, y'all. None of this is like calculated by any means. Eyeballed it, kind of got an idea of how tall I wanted my hoop to be. And then of course you're going to want to cut a little extra because you're going to want to anchor them into the ground pretty good so they can have some stability. And then I just took some wire clippers and just clipped all of them. Used one as my template and just clipped it. Took me maybe 10 minutes to clip all these. Was not hard at all to clip. And these should last year after year for quite a while, as long as I take care of them. Starting to get sweaty. It's getting hot. I'm going to try to put this camera down. Again, I can't see anything. So I'm just going to try to show you how I'm putting them in the ground. And again, I'm just eyeballing it, so I don't even know I don't even know how far apart I'm putting these. I think roughly about 3 feet apart is how I'm spacing all the hoops. So literally, y'all, this is so self-explanatory, but you come in, you want to give it a little, sink it somewhat deep in the soil here. Make sure you find a good spot. Make sure you give it a little bit of stability. You know, if you barely put it in the soil, obviously it's gonna knock over really easy. And then just go down your whole row. Okay, and we are done. Something that I found is a little easier when you don't have 2 sets of hands, which I don't today. It's just me out here. I start on one end, give the tool or the fabric or whatever a little twist, anchor it down with a big rock, take it all the way down to the other end. Make sure it's nice and taut when you get down here. Give it a nice pull. Obviously, you can't pull it too hard because you're going to pull your hoops over or you're going to rip your fabric. Do the same thing. Oh, I can't see. Give it a good twist, anchor it down, and then once you have good tension on your fabric, then, you know, start to alternate. Go on the sides, pull tight on the sides, and then that should give you some nice taut fabric. And I just went down and put a rock between each hoop, and then on this side I had to put a few extras just to make sure it was good and secure. And y'all, I mean, I think we're good. It was, you know, fairly cheap little project, doesn't take any time. I think it's really going to come in handy. I think, you know, the little bit of money I've spent, the little bit of time I spent is really going to pay off. Just the fact that I've lost, you know, I had planted a whole row of sugar snap peas. They had come up, they were looking really good, and then the insects and the rabbits ate those down. So far, this insect netting has deterred the rabbits. I was not sure if it would, but so far it has, so hopefully it will continue to do that. I will let you know if that changes. But yeah, I mean, overall, I've got, let's see, 3 rows here. These rows are roughly 20 to 25 foot each. So I've still got about half of my roll left here. So I'm going to say I spent about $25 out here on the wire hoops. And then I've got a little bit of tool left over. So I'm going to say I spent roughly $25 in tool. So that's 75 foot, around 75 foot of row covers that I've done for roughly $50. So it's definitely an option to try if you don't have the money right now to spend on legit insect netting. I would say give this a try. Okay, y'all, I can't see. I got to go in and get some water. It's getting hot. And then I've got to get out here. Oh, there you are. And then I got to get out here and finish planting these starts that I bought that I did not intend to buy. So they got to get in the ground or they're not gonna do anything. So I'm glad to be back. My plan is to continue back with weekly videos now that I feel better. So yeah, I'll catch y'all next week.